Hi everyone, welcome to Mike's GT Sport FIA weekend, I guess. It was a tough one. I'd been practicing during the week on both races, getting ready for the very first race of the day, which was Nations at Dragon Trail. Just had time to join the session, and as I'm getting ready to suit up and get ready to race, I trip over a cable and pull my power supply, so I lose connection. So there's one race down. So then I get ready for manufacturers, and things don't really get much better. Big Bruce the Shark is in my lobby. He poled first, and he's done a really good job of this race in manufacturers. So we'll just watch through and see how things go. These top guys, they're all pretty good racing, but even my qualifying wasn't the best, so I ended up somewhere down the back. And you know, I guess when you qualify and you end up near the back, that's a bit of a sign things aren't going to go well. Yeah, practice both tracks, and the week before, what was that, on a Wednesday, I had plenty of time to practice, and I felt confident. I guess when you enter with a bit of confidence, so they're in 16th, you enter with a bit of confidence, you do well. Didn't really have full confidence here, and it will show, but like the title says, my main issue was with my equipment, which you'll see a bit later. Yeah, that's right, you pleb. Get your information ready first before you start recording. Amateur. Alright, so starting off in 16th, we'll just go up to the first. Big Bruce the Shark in first place. Watch him take off. I guess when I was when the race starts and I'm in 16th, you know, you're battling through, but I kept looking up at the list to see where he was sitting, and for a number of laps he stayed in first. I was very proud of him. He managed to hang in there, and Doc Pops up there as well. It's good to be in races where you've got the regular names, and you learn to, I've said it before, you learn to trust each other. It's when you get the unknowns come in and you don't know what that person's like, you don't know how they're going to behave, or maybe the opposite, where there are people who you race with regularly but they're just dirty as. Just want to show the back of his Big Bruce the Shark's car. What a legend. He's put on the back of his car the Iron Mike experience. Good on him. So back to me. I started 16th. I've made my way up, I think mainly due to mistakes from other people. Made my way up to 14th. So for now, things were looking okay for me. I do like Nürburgring Grand Prix, mainly because, a bit like Interlagos, tracks like that, when I was younger I watched a lot of Grand Prix races, so and now like Spa, they've just introduced Spa. I really haven't raced on it yet, which surprises me, but at least I know the pattern of the track. So as much as I like this track, and I feel like I can do well at this Nürburgring Grand Prix track, but hards this weekend, and hards only, kind of threw me. I had to learn just to back off on the corners. During practice I did, so here we go into lap 2, and I think now we're going to find a few things going on. What was I saying? That's right, during practice I found I would just occasionally push it a bit too hard and spin out. Now if I spin out a little bit in practice, usually in the race that means I'm going to spin out a lot because I'm pushing too hard. Now this guy here, this is Smurfing your mum, that's why I caught this. This guy is dirty as. Now you watch this, he's so I'm on the right. Now why would you hop in behind me unless bang bang? This guy's done that intentionally. So I've got reset behind. I've lost quite a number of spots. Luckily he's copped a 3-second penalty. Now a bit further on, this is about 2 laps later. You watch this, around this corner, he's got a 1-second penalty. So how does he deal with the guy behind him? Brake checks him. Hits his brakes. And just continues on. He's got another penalty, but he probably thinks it's worth it. Let's watch it again. For some reason, he just decides to hit his brakes. Look at the penalty this guy gets. And so Smurfing your mum, to me, is just outright dirty. This is inside Smurfing your mum's car. You can see him hit his brakes. And, funny enough, he's the one who punted me, but I didn't know actually who did it. I'm not paying too much attention of who is behind me. So, what's this, lap 6? It's a bit early, isn't it? Oh, that's Big Bruce the Shark there. I thought that was me. You know, red car throws me. Have a look at the bumper bar. The I Might tribute show. So, Big Bruce the Shark and Brandon Lee, or Dark Knight 2482, I think it is. We try to do some practicing during the week, work out our strategies, get a rhythm going. Obviously, Big Bruce the Shark, he lives in New Zealand, so I need to practice with him about 5 PM because it's late at night for him. And then at 9 o'clock at night, for me, Brandon Lee's getting home from work in the morning. I think he does night shift. So I'll do another bit of training if I can with him. It's a bit hard during the week because it's almost bedtime. But Friday nights I'm more available. Watch this. 2 cars trying to go in at once into the pits. So still in 14th here, after getting messed around with people like Smurfing your mum. So I think I had hards, I didn't really look there, I think it was hards and medium initially. Oh no, sorry, this is just a hards only race, so hards off, hards on. Now I'm not too sure why. Maybe I've had my PlayStation on all day. I mean, I turn it on in the morning and I just do a bit more practicing, make sure my car's liveries are right, and then, you know, prepare for the FIA, which is, for me, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's about 6 hours PlayStation is on. But I started to find, I think it was in this race, it was my brake. It's happened before, and I cleaned up my brake, the sensor. But it just started to go off again, and down a straight, I find my car's slowing down. It's my brake is activating. For no reason. So I'll try and point it out for you when it happens. Now, not only does my car slow down, but then my attention is off the race, and it's on my equipment, and I shouldn't have to be focusing on my equipment. Oh, so yeah, we're in the last lap here, as you can see. Oh, this is again Big Bruce the Shark. I'm getting confused. I recorded this last night and now I'm playing it and voicing over. So well done, Big Bruce the Shark. in the Mercedes, and here I come in 11th spot, and I started 16th, so I did okay, but a few dirty drivers on the track. So then I can finally get back to Nations. And see, I can go here. Now this is really where my brake started to really play up in this race. Then I started to notice near the end my accelerator was also beginning to play up. So if you're going down a straight, the brake is slightly being applied, and then on top of that my accelerator was dropping off. So I felt like I was racing around with a pallet full of bricks in the boot. And again, qualifying, not the best. Here I am, 16th. There's the Branchies, my old mate, who called me an idiot, and then I punted him off the track on this track. So I was very surprised that it's almost as though he's either learnt his lesson or he just totally forgot. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to leave him alone unless he does something else again. And he seemed to behave. I did consider the Megane, which the Arkanoid has, but I think it's great on corners, but not the fastest on straights. It's funny about the balance of power. A lot of these cars, you try different cars and you're pretty much getting all the same times. And if that's the case for me, then I look for a car that I'm just more comfortable with, less risk of going off track, can handle it easier. So first lap here, I actually concede to the Branchies and I drop into 17th. At first lap I thought felt like a bit of a crowd up front. I'll just sit back and wait and watch. Didn't want to jump in case things were going to happen. I didn't want to be a part of it, so I thought I'll just sit back and see what happens. So first lap was almost, I think that's the Branchy sort of darting and diving. His internet connection isn't the best either, so he does sort of squiggle around a bit. But first lap was almost like a procession lap, but it's the second lap where I think people then decide to make some moves and things go wrong for people, and that's where I start to make up some spots. So you can see again, I mean, I've mentioned on another stream my ABS is flickering on the odd occasion. And it'd be more obvious when I'm on straights. Alright, so that's the first lap down, and this is where lap 2 things just slightly begin to kick off. So here we go, lap 2. Oops, there's the Arkanoid off, and almost hits me. Oop, 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 out the way. Whew. From 17th to 15th. Oh yes, I'm in the Lexus RCF 86 or whatever it is, 96, 206, I can't remember. And again up here, I think it's just people pushing a bit too hard, and so up to 14th. Then I'm passing, who was it? Big Harry 4R. So 13th now. So things are looking good. Just keep an eye on the ABS, so mainly on the long straights when it shouldn't be flickering. And the chicane actually, it's easier this way, going backwards apparently. and just passing the branchies. He lost a bit of momentum there. So that takes me into position 12. Yeah, so this direction, which apparently is backwards, I don't mind it. I think when very first time I ever joined GT Sport, this is a race maybe it was a daily, but this was the direction I first ever went in. So dropping down to 13th, and then we've had a few cars with issues, so back into 12th. Oops. Bad day at the office. So why did I pick this car? Usually if I open up an FIA race, I'll have a look at the standing board, the top 10, and I'll have a look and see what is the car that dominates that top 10, and this Lexus dominated, which is obviously a telltale sign. I will still try different cars, but I would put that one to the top of my list. So if you were racing behind me, you'd occasionally see my brake lights flickering. That's just my brakes being applied, and that's my sensor being a bit dirty, slowing me down. This corner here is probably one of the worst corners I know. Just how to enter it, I'm sort of lost. And I probably never enter it the same way every time. It's always a little bit different. So someone else has had an issue. Is that the gingerbread man, I think. So up to 11th. So far I'm clean. Car handles well. That's really a big thing of what I look for when I choose a car to race. Does it handle well? And no going too hard. I try to maintain my driving pattern the way I've been practicing. So lap 7 in a come. So this was the hybrid hard medium on, hard's front, medium back, and now I could have done another 2 pits, another 2 stints of medium, but I chose to just go hard and finish it off. And look at this, very first corner, taking it very tentatively, trying to, just in case there's cars flying around the corner, just want to try and keep out of the way. So we're just jumping now. This is where the issue begins, lap 12. I'm in position 11. Now if you have a look, I think it's my accelerator this time. My accelerator begins to... So I already know my brake's an issue. But then it's my accelerator begins to drop off. Not necessarily here. Oh, it's hard to pick there, but it's playing up, and so my mind is on my equipment now, so I totally lose my line. I spin out, and you can see mentally where I am at the moment. I'm focusing on my equipment, just hitting my pedals, smacking them. So I'm annoyed at no one but myself. So before Wednesday, I've got to buy some contact cleaner, contact cleaner is like a cleaner for mainly electrical equipment. It cleans off any dirts and oils and then evaporates so it doesn't leave any oil or liquids. It's called contact cleaner, and that's what we've got some at work, so I'll bring a can home, open up my pedals and give them a spray out. And my equipment is in my lounge, my pedals are on carpet, and so fluff and crap just gets in them, and I get annoyed at the people who manufactured these pedals. Did it in a lab that's perfectly clean. They would have tested it in a real clean environment. That's great. Now hand them to someone and use them in different environments, and what's the issues? Seal up the sensors. That's what they should have done, and they haven't. And where the pedals move, there are openings where rubbish can get in, and so my pedals are sensing braking or deceleration when it shouldn't. So I'm just falling back. This is final lap, and I've just fallen back, just sort of hanging on for last place, trying to beat last, and I just wasn't happy at all. And so I give my rating to this weekend right now. Not a good one. So guys, the aim of the stream was look after your equipment, make sure it's running healthy, or your racing is stuffed. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.